My wife and I and my children are coming up on 6 months of being on the road after selling our house in March of 2025 in Chattanooga, Tennessee, and spending the last 6 months tent camping throughout the national parks. We're here in a 2010 Honda Odyssey. There's no roof box, there's no trailer hitch or anything like that. Everything we own is here in the car with us. We've made some interesting modifications to the vehicle to make it more useful to us. I'm just going to give you a tour of those things. Some of them I've covered in more detail in another video. I'll point that out. But maybe it's interesting to you. Maybe you can copy and paste some of them, or maybe it gives you an idea for something you can do to your own vehicle. I'll start here in the back where the kids sit. We removed the brackets that hold the second row seats down. In some cases you can unbolt them. In other cases you had to cut them out with a hacksaw. And we did that so that we could recarpet and have no holes, and so that we could put boxes there without there being a bunch of things sticking out of the ground. And we do occasionally do some boondocking, which means I sleep there, my wife sleeps there, my son sleeps there, my daughter sleeps here, and my other son sleeps here. And so not having things in your back is really great. The obvious downside is you'll never be able to install the second row again. But this vehicle right now has 300,000 miles, and we thought that the resale value wasn't going to be very high, whether it had second row seats or not. The next thing is, and I covered this in another video you can find on my channel, I found a lot of space behind these speakers. There's even more on the passenger side. That's where I keep all of my tools, but you'll see there's a lot of space here. Again, way more on the other side where you can store things. And on this side, we have a little bag dangling with our passports, extra credit cards, checkbook, some other valuables. The next tip in general is to use carabiners and chalk bags more than you think. If you go to a place that sells climbing gear, you can often find used chalk bags for about $5, and they're really handy little pouches. So you can see we have them hanging all over the car. 1, 2, 3. We also have, we use them as trash bags for the kids. This is where the seat belts used to sit for the second row. And so you see here, this is where the kids put their trash. They cinch up, they're super nice. Then they unclip them and empty them when we get to a gas station. If you have an older vehicle and you're not worried about resale, a really handy tip is to take a drill bit and drill 2 holes in an interior panel. Without having access to the backside, you can loop a zip tie back through. You just kind of bend the tail so that the tail is like that. That way when you shove it through the hole, it kind of comes through the other side. And we clip all kinds of things to there, primarily walkie-talkies. And again, resale value wouldn't be appreciated by this type of thing, but we're past that point. So this has been super handy. You can put them wherever you want. And these zip ties have actually held up for 6 months now. Yeah, so around the grab handles and around the posts for the headrests, we have little bits of 275 paracord draped and looped, and then we just have climbing carabiners. Now, of course, you don't need climbing grade carabiners for this type of thing, but we are climbers, and so we have a lot anyway. And if we ever need them for climbing, we just unclip them and take them. But it's super handy. We hang backpacks here, water bottles, all kinds of things. And we actually started with just 1 and then upgraded to 2, and now we're on 3 because they're so useful. Another super useful thing is basically I have 1 piece of 275 paracord that runs the entire length of the car. You'll see it here, and it goes all the way up to there. The trick to doing this really well is to soak the paracord so that as you stretch it, you know, you take out all the slack out, but then when it dries, it shrinks. And so you get like almost guitar string tightness. And basically what I did is I loosened these screws on all of them, and I fastened to the first one. Then I would pull and wrap and pull super tight, then run down the fastener, loop super tight, run down the fastener. I did that all the way around. What's really nice about it, it becomes a clothesline back here where we can hang clothes and towels that are wet. We have a second clothesline up here, which is 2 pieces twisted together. By twisting them together, you can wedge, as an example, a pair of socks here, and it won't slide because it provides a little bit of extra tension. Then, if you want to learn how to make a prusik knot, you can make these little prusik loops where they will slide anywhere you want, and then you can clip something and it stays exactly where you clipped it. Another absolutely game-changing thing is these hanging carabiners that I have here on each side. I took some 275 paracord, I did a constrictor knot on this buckle up here, and these things just hang. They're on a clove hitch, so I can adjust where it sits. This is so good for keeping things in the trunk without them falling out. One of the best ideas I've ever had in my life was to get rid of the center console in our minivan and to replace it with this cooler. This is a 28-liter cooler from Igloo. It's not a particularly good one, but it works pretty good. In this case, I have some bungee that come up from the seats and just loop around here like this, so I can easily remove it. I'll do that right now on camera. So that can now come out of there. It's a tight fit, admittedly. I then just have a board here that keeps it from sliding forward, and I have that tuned just right so that it sits just in front of the cup holders. To make it a little bit more useful, we added some carpet on the top and the bottom. Keeps a lot of things from slipping. And it wasn't my idea, but I drilled some holes and filled the lid with some expanding foam. That makes a big difference in terms of thermal insulation. Another fun little trick is to swing by IKEA, go to their bath and shower area, and grab these suction cup things that are used for shower and toothbrushes and razors and things like that. They work really good for the kids to keep things organized. We also grabbed this little basket from there, double stick taped him to this shelf. All kinds of little areas where you can save space if you're really desperate. So here at the back, there used to be a cigarette lighter outlet for 12-volt adapters. I removed that and ran it here. In addition to that, right here, there used to be a 120-volt outlet, just like you have in your house. I removed that and also reran it here. And so now I have for the kids right here under the seat, 3 connections along with some USBs. And then that cigarette lighter one became this thing right here, a multi-ended cord, super handy on the road. And then off that same cigarette lighter port, I added these little USB-A female connections so they can plug all kinds of things in. There's one on each side. Of course, recarpeting the interior was helpful because I could hide all those cords so that you basically never see them and you never trip over them. One incredible thing about how much stuff we've brought is that it was so little that I can always see out the back of the car. It's never blocked. But occasionally we do have the issue of things trying to fall out this way. So again, little loops of 275 paracord right over the headrest posts. Carabiners go on there, and we just move these around as needed. Oh, I'm missing a couple here. The kids grabbed them. And we can connect things that might otherwise want to fall off. Super handy. And super handy. Another really useful thing to keep around is some bungee. This is about 5 mil, I think. And if you just connect it like this so that it's one massive loop, in climbing, we call this cordelette. And what's really nice, because it's bungee, you don't have to have a precise fit, but you can wrap this around your cooler or your tent bag or whatever you have back here, which has the tendency to fall out. And because it's a loop, and because there's so many carabiners, you can fasten it here, and then if you need more tension, you can just bring this loop here and fasten it, or you could bring 2 loops there and fasten it, or you could connect it up here, or in many cases, I've added little loops down here to which you can connect carabiners, loops here and here. Just gives you all kinds of incredible versatility to connect all kinds of things in all sort of configurations to always have the ability to hold your stuff down. Only a couple things left here in the front. I got more of those USB-A connectors and very fidgetedly installed them here in the glove box, which is great for getting things charged. You can get those on Amazon. Just type in like USB-A extensions. They come with little mounting holes and screws. Fantastic. I removed the satellite navigation because it was developed in 2003 and is useless. And I also removed the power adapter and the aux in, which normally would go there. That way the cables aren't in our way. It's all hidden now behind the dash. We have one cord for audio in from our iPhone. It does charge. And then we have a fast charging cable, which doesn't let the audio go to the vehicle, but charges really, really fast. And second to last but not least, you see more of these little loops here. In this case, I did have access to the backside, so you don't see the actual tail and the receiver part. but these have held up for 6 months. It's where I keep my Rocky Talkie every day. It's where I clip my keys. And you see my wife's Rocky Talkie, whoops, down there. Super handy to have all that stuff. Last but not least, we shorted out the buckles so that the car doesn't know whether we're buckled or unbuckled. And that's not because we drive around without buckles, but when you're going in and out of campgrounds and campsites and backing up and trying to fit into tight places, it's just super annoying to always have those things going off. So I have some videos about all that. Hopefully that was interesting to you guys. If not, give this thing a thumbs down. Let the algorithm find you something more interesting than a guy in a minivan. Other than that, take care and God bless you.